Hey everyone, Joe Glines here, and today in my video I'm not actually going to cover how to automate anything. I'm talking more about life in general, and I've been having these auto hotkey interviews with auto hotkey experts, and a lot of stuff's been bouncing around in my mind. I've also been reading this book, which is from Dan Kennedy. He's an amazing author if you're interested in like advertising, direct mail, direct marketing, a lot of anything around that. This book is Wealth Attraction in the New Economy. It's even though it's called Wealth Attraction, it's much more about principles of your life and how to live your life. And one chapter in particular, let's see, the chapter, I think it's 21. Yeah, chapter 21. Think value, not time. A lot of people, it really hit me hard because I've dealt with this so many years of my life that a lot of people think like they work a certain job and it's the time in, like, hey, if I've worked here for, another year, I deserve a raise. And, if you don't add extra value, you possibly in the chapter here, he says, like, do you bring 30 years experience or do you bring 1 year of experience repeated 30 times? Right. And basically, if you're not learning new stuff, right, you're really not adding value. And the odds of you getting a raise at work, right, or keeping your job if there are layoffs or, moving up the ladder, are much smaller if you just think I'm just going to sit along and do my job and every year I'm going to get a raise, right? I deserve a raise. I really hate that sense of entitlement without improving yourself. And I realized a lot of things that I have in common with auto hotkey people is we're out here, we're trying to learn how to do things, improve ourselves. And so one, I want to talk about some of the ways you can do this. One is just reading, right? So let me make you nauseous here by moving my camera around. But here are some of my books, right? So those, there's a lot of books on Office and automation, or not automation, but Office and Excel and Outlook up there, and VBA. Then there's my stuff on SPSS and Systat and statistics. These are my market research and advertising books. All of these, none of them are fiction, right? These are all books that I've chosen to read. No one told me to read them. I've chosen to read them. And I even buy extra, you can see some of these, I have extra copies of the books because I give them to people that show interest, because I think it's so important that we improve ourselves. These bottom ones are still on marketing research down in there. And then over to here, I have still a bunch more on consumer research, advertising. Here I have a lot more stuff on different, making sure I'm focusing right, programming languages. That's more statistics down there. And then I have like self-help stuff over here. A lot of things dealing with economics and the environment, and self-help as well. Up there, those are my those are courses that I've purchased over time with from the teaching company. They teach graduate level courses from the best universities in the world. They basically find the best professor out there and will ask him to teach a course, and it's the most amazing courses. I've learned a ton from those. And then over here I still have this one, this is much more into politics. So these two things right here, am I pointing right? Yeah, these two shelves. That's my fiction, right? Which I honestly haven't read in probably like 20 years. And just so you can see my stack of books next to the door here, those are my to-read books, right? So I'm always trying to read something, and I'm trying to learn something. So reading is one that's like, I buy used copies of almost anything, because rarely is something so new that you can't just get a used copy of it, and it's super cheap. But so reading is a great one. And also in one of my other videos with my friend Gabe Cook, we talked about our codecation, right? We would literally take like 5 to 7 days out of the year and meet up, and for 12 to 14 hours sometimes, and it was crazy how long we would work. And we're not getting paid. We're just trying to learn something, and we would learn it together, and it really helped us kind of like buddy, kind of like a workout system where, you had someone else going through it with you, and so you were dedicated and you were really trying hard. It helped us not get distracted either. And so, because we were both working and going for it. But you can also sign up for Udemy courses, right? Or lynda.com courses. Those, of course, both of those are paid, but they're still relatively inexpensive for the topics you can learn. Another thing I wanted to say was I actually went out and bought these. These are two shirts that I got both for basically everyone in my family. No excuses, right? I can't stand when people make excuses for virtually anything, right? Most things you can explain it and say, it happened and it won't happen again, but don't make excuses for why it happened, right? Just say, look, I'm on it, and the best way to say is like, here's how we're going to avoid it in the future. Also, in the wealth attraction book, he talks about thinking about equity, not income. So don't think about like, what am I going to make right now? Invest in yourself and build equity in yourself and your business or whatever about future stuff. And the more you focus on the future, the more in the long run you'll do much better in how you live. Another great book by Kennedy. Now he's normally in direct marketing stuff, but this one was on time management for entrepreneurs, and you get a peek inside his life and how he works, and what an amazing work ethic that he I mean, a lot of people will think he's cuckoo, and he agrees that a lot of people think that, but he has his system and he is so productive, it's crazy. He does so many things that are awesome. One of the phrases I love in his book is stay away from time vampires, right? These are people who, you right by saying it, they come in and they suck the life out of you and your time, and they just keep talking and talking, and they want more, and they get nothing. Usually it's just a waste of time, right? And so he purposely, first he tried having like open door policies when he was a CEO at a company, and then he decided this is crap, right? I can never get any work done. So he switched to closed door policies, and then he actually even off-sourced himself, so he didn't even work out of the office purposely so he could get work done, and then only allowed scheduled times where people could talk to him. But it's all about making sure you're productive and efficient, and that's basically it. I want to highly encourage you, don't get caught up on entitlement and thinking you deserve things. Is it the 10th commandment? Don't covet your neighbor's anything, right? The second you start getting mad that someone else has something that you think you deserve, right? Stop that train of thought right away. Realize, look, you're in your position. Do I think there's no reason why there's no reasons for that people have an advantage? No, that's not true. But more often than not, the reason why you have an advantage isn't because of your skin color or because of where you're from or anything. It's because your parents made a choice to focus in something, and to either to they stressed education, or they stressed hard work and labor, and they got themselves ahead, and then they gave you those same things to value in your life, right? And so for me, I come from a family who's basically no one went to college. I got 2 A's, a undergraduate, and a master's degree. And honestly, I'd get a doctorate if I thought it would help me, but I don't think it really would. And I also don't want to put up with the crap that you have to do to get a doctorate. It's just not worth it to me. So I keep improving myself by reading new stuff and learning. And I never stop learning, never stop trying, right? Keep at it. Schedule things for yourself, right? Plan. Like I used to work about 20% of my time. I automated so much of my work that I could have 20% of my day where I'm learning new stuff, and no one knew what I was doing it because I'd automated so much of my job that I could allow myself to learn even more and keep automating more. And it was just a cycle where I just allowed myself to learn new things. And another great way to do stuff is, Jackie mentioned it the other day, is to support a forum, right? When he first started he wanted to learn AutoHotkey, and one of the ways he thought he could do it was by reading people's questions on the forum, on the AutoHotkey forum, and answering their questions. So he didn't have a need at all, but he forced himself to do this so he would better expose himself to things that he didn't know how to do. And by doing that, he actually learned a lot of amazing things that now he later realized, hey, you know what, I can use this, right? So it takes a really dedicated person to go like that. But I'd highly encourage you, keep at it. Remember, self-improvement, don't give up. Don't let people make you feel bad if you are trying to go for it. Some cultures will frown on you if you're trying to improve yourself. I know for me, when they would laugh at me, or not laugh, but I don't know if it was envy or what, but when they saw the hours I worked, I used to work a lot of hours, and it was because I wanted to get ahead, and people would kind of make fun of me and kind of question it, and yet I would be the ones getting the raises or getting a promotion, and then of course they'd be jealous, and somehow there's this disconnect that like I actually deserve to move ahead because I really worked hard, right? The other great one is make sure when you do all this stuff, have an outline. If you're trying to get a raise, show your boss, show the value you've saved, show them what you're bringing. Don't just go and say I need a raise. So back to this the wealth book, the wealth attraction book. This was a great, it's one of those, this is what actually got me to act on this, because it just drove me nuts, was, so in the book, he talks about this lady, he does mentoring, so a person to come to him for advice, and apparently she has this employee that for years, she would come to her every year and say, I need a raise. I need a raise, right? And they think that somehow need has something to do with it. So this person would tell her, that's fine. Hey, the second you get your raise, the second you enroll in these courses to do X, Y, and Z, right? That was her response. And so Dan Kennedy asked her later in the chapter, said, hey, by the way, how many years has this been happening? How many years has this employee come to you and saying, I need a raise? And you said, like, well, that's fine. We'll give you a raise once you do X, Y, or Z, right? And the answer she gave was 14 years. 14 years, she says she has not given this person a raise. And for 14 years, it's because the person has never took it upon themselves to actually go and do what they're being told that you have to do, right? It's this crazy thought of like, I'm just here, I deserve more. No, you don't. And I sure wouldn't pay you more if you don't improve yourself, right? There's a little benefit, sure, if you know it and you filling in a new person, but you know what? Most people, they want to keep learning and they'll do better and they'll get more efficient. After that first year or two, there's very little, additional efficiencies that happen unless you're learning new things and finding better ways to do stuff. So anyway, that's my tirade for the day. Keep at it, keep learning. I know most people who are already following this you're following because you want to improve yourself, because you see this. But I highly recommend you pick up this book in particular, the Wealth Attraction book. It's much more about how to live your life and how to not feel guilty about wanting to succeed. There's a big thing in our society. People think that wanting to succeed is bad, and they also have this big vision that there's a zero-sum game as far as if I make more money, someone else is going to make less. That's absolutely not true, right? There's X and Y can get put together and make something more than what it would have been, right? I can add value and everyone wins. Don't think that like by you succeeding, someone else is going to fail. That's absolutely not true. So I am in no way ashamed to say that I'm a capitalist, that I want money, that I strive for money. I think capitalism is awesome. And I think everyone, when you look at all the systems out there, the best ones take advantage of your desire to actually do better and leverage it. And that actually helps other people. It doesn't hurt them, right? There's this big belief that we're going to take advantage and exploit other people by doing these things. That almost never happens, right? The world is usually better off by things that you do, not worse off. Don't get hung up on the quote unquote filthy rich, right? They're not filthy. That alone term right there implies that there's a negative for being rich. Look, these people more often than not started with nothing. Like most people don't inherit their money. They've made their money in the United States. They worked hard. They had strong work ethics. They had amazing ideas. And they didn't come here and somehow monopolize and take ownership of things. They had a better product to go out and sell that people were willing to buy and give them money. And they were happy for it, right? What's wrong with that? I mean, in the long run, it's so much better. And the world, even the poor people in our country are so much better off than the poor in other people's countries because of capitalism. So, sorry, that's a bit of a tirade, but I just feel very, very, very passionately about this. And I hope you guys all take it to heart. And, I really hope if you do disagree with some of that you think about it, right? I would love if you want to debate it. That's great. Let's talk about it. Don't just disagree, hate me, and then just write vile responses, right? Let's have a discussion about it, because I'm always, hey, prove me wrong, right? Change my mind. Let's look at socialism around the world in any way. I mean, it's been a failure, miserable failure. Millions and upon millions of people have died because of it. So let's have an open debate. I'm happy for it, but please don't tune it out and just entirely think that maybe I have a thread of truth here, right? Let's have a discussion about it. If you're going to not agree with it, let's discuss it and talk why we believe this way and bring facts and data, because in the end, facts and data are all I care about, right? And of course, you can pick and choose facts, but the person that brings the strongest argument to me, that's how you get around it. All right. Anyway, thank you. Bye.